Fam, what's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another episode of the Mindset Monday series with my co-host Justin Thorstad. Was that new?
She was like, that was new. I like it. Yeah. Nice little twist on the end.
Yeah, I mean, it felt familiar, but like I thought it was good. Okay. All right, whatever. All right, Mindset Mondays. All right.
Oh shit.
Again, I love the Mindset Monday series because it really sets me up. It's almost like a self-serving, conversation that I get to have with you on a weekly basis, which is so amazing. Truthfully, I respect everything that you do in terms of personal growth and how much ownership you have over the responsibility of the route that you take, right, in your life. So I've learned a lot from you in these conversations, in previous conversations, one-on-one conversations, and everything. So it's really a blessing that we get to come in and share it with the audience, man.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going to piggyback on that. So, I say who you surround yourself with matters, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to surround yourself with people because you become a product of your environment, it better be elevated individuals that are like, kind, or greater than yourself. And it's one of the things I really appreciate and respect about you, man, is that like you take full ownership and responsibility for the end result. Yeah. And you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And that's, unfortunately, it's kind of a rarity in our society. So I appreciate you for that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, there was a lot of bro love right there, right out of the gate.
What a way to start a Monday.
Like it. Feeling is mutual, man. So let's talk about this thing that happens, and we take it as a norm, right? It's almost like okay, this is the way things are done. Accepted behavior, societal behavior, and that's the idea of playing your life not to lose. All right, so being enough in the game of life to just not lose, as opposed to really committing and then playing to win. It's a big difference between the two.
Massive.
You actually brought a couple of points earlier before we started recording, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I want to do a 30,000-foot view, and then we'll just kind of dive deep into these. But it's important to understand, right, that there are different levels of results. Because there are different levels of commitment. There are different levels of quote unquote intention in some of these levels. That it's more of along the lines of interest.
Yeah,
as opposed to committed intention, right? So the first one, the bottom, at the beginning, the bottom tier of that lineup is people are just not playing at all. They're not partaking in the responsibility of life. Right?
100%.
One above that is going to be people who are just playing the game. And this is where most of the masses live, right? They're just playing, living another day and whatnot, a complacency, a lot of conformity in that space. Then you bump it up another one. There's, you're playing not to lose. Most people play not to lose. And I feel like when you put a little bit of skin on the game, but you're still kind of being held back by a lot of fear, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of worthiness issues, you can fall into that playing not to lose space, because it creates this false sense of security, right? And almost like a safety blanket. And then you have a small portion of the population that actually go out there and play to win, play to make the best of this go around, right, at life, and put skin in the game, throw everything they have into it, and just push for that ideal life that people are striving for, which is it's an achievable thing. Let's break those down, man.
Sure. So, I mean, I don't think that there's any utilitarian value in addressing the fourth quadrant, the bottom rung of like not playing. Like, I'm not even able to wrap my head around that. Like, this is your one go at life. It's not a pregame. It's not a trial run. Like, we're live. And for those people that are just not, those people aren't even watching this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't do anything to advance themselves, better themselves. It's like that codependency on someone or something external, so that when they don't get it, they get to point the finger. Like, it's the epitome of victim.
Yeah, I feel like it's a portion of the population that's not even in the arena, right? It's like we talk about keeping your head in the game, or putting yourself in the game, and that sort of thing. These are people who just they're out there, and they may have, I don't know, just kind of coasting through life. They may have a notion of where they want to go, but there's absolutely no action behind it. There's no real intention, no real effort, right? Man, it kills me to see somebody's life just kind of go to waste because they've been, I don't know, they're clinging on to a relationship. They're clinging on to something that never allowed them to be themselves, but they never allowed themselves to be themselves, right? But it's unfortunate, man. We see it often too. Like people they're not even in the game when it comes to life and where do they want to be, right?
Yeah,
where do they want to get to?
Right. We call that category deny choice. They deny the fact that they even have a choice in this thing called life. Yeah.
Yeah. The next one, again, it's people who, they're just playing. They're, okay, cool, I'm going to play the game. I'm going to play the 9-to-5 thing. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you're fulfilled, right?
Sure.
It really comes down to fulfillment, the essence of it all. Are you enjoying your life? Are you living in a happy space? Not everybody has to be an entrepreneur. I mean, we drive the entrepreneur, home here, right? We shove it down everybody's throat just because that's where we live. That's our headspace. But it's not a bad thing to have a 9-to-5 if you are fulfilled, if you feel like you are in that cadence of enjoyment and contribution and creativity, right? If you're in your space and you're happy and glowing, absolutely fine.
Yeah, you're winning.
You're winning, exactly.
Yeah.
It's what it really comes down to. The thing, or that kind of kills the whole 9-to-5 thing for me is that most of the people that I talk to, like, no, I'm tired. I think I'm gonna be there for I don't know, like as soon as I can get out, I'll get out. Like, what does that tell me about the daily quality of life, right?
Yeah.
And people go through that. Why? Because it's the story that they've read or they've told themselves, or somebody told them from childhood, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to live. You're gonna grow up and you're gonna go do this. Why? Because that's a storyline. You follow that storyline, and people get caught in that. We keep referring back to the rat race, right? The whole idea of the rat race is to identify the space that we don't want to be in. Why? Because we're going in this perpetual cycle that just it's killing energy, it's killing emotion, it's killing dreams, and if you're not playing, to win, if you're just there and you're just kind of playing the daily stuff, to I don't know, go eat, go work, go to sleep, and then go do it all over again, you're in decay, right?
Yeah, 100%. These are more of this category is called avoid choice. So they know they have a choice. I could leave the 9-to-5 and I can pursue my dreams, but I avoid that choice. And so it's still a level of victim, yet it's a little elevated. They know that there's options available to them, but they're still widely a kind of a spectator at least towards their dreams.
Well, I think what happens when you're just playing the game, it's you're somewhat there, right? But it's easy to not take responsibility of anything that goes wrong.
Yeah.
And I think as a society, we're terrified. We're terrified of man, I don't want to fuck that up. I don't want it to be me that messes up. It's okay if we mess up. It's okay. That's perfectly fine.
Required.
I just don't want it to be me.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to finger point, pointing at me saying that, okay, cool, we messed up and I was part of, it's okay if we're in the masses and we're just kind of there.
Totally.
But I think it's easy to get around the idea of guilt and responsibility if you're just playing the game. Why? Because that's the script. That's what's written. I was like, listen, I went to school, it didn't work out. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to go back and then, be miserable here.
Yeah.
Because of fear of just growing into that bigger version of yourself.
Yeah. Well, and again, the vast majority of the population, at least in America, lives in this quadrant. And I think in large, it's due to, again, the category is avoid choice, right?
Yeah.
So they know they have a choice, but they avoid it. Why? Well, there must be pain if I pursue this. And so a lot of that, I think, comes down to conditioning from parents or whoever, was your primary caretaker who raised you, of if you do that, it might not work out and you can fail and you lose everything. Like it's fear driven.
Yeah.
And so being conditioned as small children, like if that was the voice of reason that you grew up with, like there's too much risk, which is really weird because the very thing these people are attempting to avoid is the very thing they're creating, risk. Think about it. If you go to that 9 to 5, you pursue that career because your family said you should, like it's just a norm in your, heritage, whatever the case is. But it's not really what fulfills you. The process in and of itself is mundane. It's not stimulating. You're really in a state of decay. And in that state, like how you show up to the 9 to 5, like that's not going to produce amazing results. That's not going to get you the promotions and move up the ladder. And so, you become this obsolete employee and you're on the chopping block at every, downsize, market shift. And so you create a lot of risk for yourself because you don't have job security. And man, it's just like what it take from yourself to be that kind of spectator of like.
Is there such thing right now as job security? I mean, like,
no.
Not that I want to go off on a tangent, right? But it's always a false sense of security. It's
100%.
like it's a, I don't know. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Well, it's like living in a gated community.
If you're depending on a company that's depending on I don't know, bailouts or some shit like that. It's like
how many companies offer pensions and
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like there's no guaranteed pay when you last 30 years if you do, because in our day and age, like companies are always merging acquisitions, you know what I mean, going out of business because of the economy. So to think that you're going to be able to stay at a job for 30 years, like that's extremely rare now. And
I'm not saying that like there's no good solid companies out there, right? Let me make that clear.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that it's a very thin wall between okay, cool, I'm safe here in this job security place, or shit, I mean I'm out in the cold. Like, it's really just that corporate.
Well, and even if you align yourself with a company that is in business for 30 years and you do get a pension, like, man, what is that really costing you? It's costing you your dreams. Now, again, if you're the kind of individual where like, hey, I'm totally fulfilled doing my job. I think it's a contribution to humanity. I love the process, and every day it pulls me out of bed, and you come home at 5 and you're good to go. Like, congratulations. However, the people that are in that category, very, very small percentage of them are actually fulfilled.
Right.
So if you're one of those, my hat off to you.
Well, I mean, let me pull it back here for a second. We keep talking about in the professional context, right? But what about taking these 4 different stages of playing in life and then applying them to the different areas of life? Yourself, personal development.
Yeah.
What about health? What about relationships? What about your dreams of personal fulfillment besides the money making activities, 100%. Right? Same thing. Are you not playing with your relationships? Are you just playing on the relationship with your kids, with your spouse,
going through the motions,
with your with your friendships? Like, are you just going through the motions? Because that's it. That's the kind of quality that you're gonna get out of life.
Yeah.
Right.
So these 4 quadrants, really, what I like compare it to is the commitment ladder. Yeah. So the bottom rung of the commitment is like, I hope, I wish, I'll try.
Yeah.
Right. I want, and you move up in levels of commitment, which is, we've talked about this in other episodes, and I believe there's only one rung, and we're getting there. But so what you just said, like how you show up to all facets of your life.
Yeah.
Like it's just how you play the game called life, and we're moving up in levels of commitment. Is really what's happening. So we're still on the kind of bottom rungs of, I'm just here. I'm showing up, and I'm going through the motions.
And I guess it goes back to the truism of how you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Absolutely. What you do here is what you do there.
If you're showing up in one area, more than likely you're going to want to show up in other areas of your life as well.
Because it's a mental construct, right? Like it's your mental model of life, reality, how it all works and it's put together.
Yeah.
So of course you're going to show that up that way in every other facet of life. Your health, your finances, your marriage, or lack thereof.
Yeah. 100%. And then you have playing not to lose. So that's we're going up the ladder here. We're at the third stage, playing not to lose. That's when you have a little bit of skin in the game, and we see a lot of those, a lot of that type of personality, and I don't know, maybe in the first 5 years of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Self-employed
So they're
people,
self-employed. I mean, you go to seminars all the time, and then you'll have a portion of a good portion being kind of falling under that bucket, right? I'm just playing not to lose.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I want to put a little bit of skin in the game, but I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I want to play it super safe. I like the idea of false choice, right? It's like, I have the choice of to become an entrepreneur, but is it really? Are you committed, or are you splitting your life between two different versions, the super safe one and the one where you want to thrive and have all this time freedom, yet you're giving your time away because you don't want to let go of whatever cuts you a bribe to live, right? And I'm not saying leave your jobs, like, it's not what I'm saying, right? But
leave your job. No.
Yeah, well, sort of, but no, it's like, dude, if you take that, I mean, I understand. We have transitionary periods where we do it, I don't know, we'll do it for a year, depending on how big the dream is, right? We do it for the year, we roll out, we implement, right? We have to you have to out there and be like actually taking action, doing stuff, right?
100%.
And you roll out, you transition out of that, okay, that 9 to 5 or that payroll into this, okay, shit. Like it's nerve-wracking when you bet on yourself. But bro, I see it all the time. People that have been in business, quote unquote, for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. And I mean, I've wanted to do this thing as be an entrepreneurship and do it all, but I still got my 9, so you kind of like, it reminds me of that scene from Spider-Man where he's got like both trains. It's just kind of like, you remember that? Like, where he's being split apart. Okay, whatever. All my Marvel fans out there, love you all. But so anyways, it's Spider-Man, and then he's got both trains like through with the webs and everything. Yeah. He's got one going that way and then one going that way. This train is splitting, and he's trying to keep them both together and whatnot. Like, it's the same thing. Yeah. Like, you're doing that thing at a mental level every single day when you don't commit. Right? Well, when you're just playing not to lose. You're putting some tokens into the machine, but like, are you really going for it?
No. And so that's why it's called false choice.
Yeah.
It's the category of people. And by the way, so like, I would say 80% of the population lives in the bottom 2, and the top 20% are in these 2 categories. But specifically 15%, like, of that 20 is in this category. And it's false choice because like, they made the choice for the wrong reasons. It wasn't because this is what I truly desire and what I want to go after. I want to bet on myself. And these are the kind of people that they start an endeavor, maybe a multi-level marketing or real estate investor or a realtor. There's a lot of realtors in this category. And it's like they want the shiny new object that's going to be the key to their success, thinking it's like external.
Right.
And they work with it for a little while. It doesn't work out because they're not all in. And then they just bounce to the next shiny object, thinking that it's outside of them. And they'll say, oh, well, that didn't work.
There's a lot of jumping ship that
this
takes
doesn't
place,
work. Yeah, it's like, maybe you didn't work it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a higher rung on the commitment ladder of like, I'll do whatever until this happens, or until I get rejected.
Until it gets inconvenient.
Until I get punched in the face, metaphorically speaking. So long as it's fun in the process, instead of the top rung. So
the reason this topic kind of came to mind, and I went to the gym this morning. I was just kind of moving things out. When I'm working out, I like to sometimes just turn everything off, and then I'll listen to white noise as I'm lifting. Okay. And it just kind of takes me in this train of thought and whatnot, and I get to kind of like, it's interesting, but it's almost like a meditative exercise.
Why am I just now finding out about this?
I mean, I don't know.
Sounds interesting. I'd like to try it out.
It's very interesting. But it's just white noise. And I was going through through things, conversations, and I like to recap a lot on gratitude and everything else. Like, I was thinking about the weekend, and I recently had this conversation. Somebody came up to me, and they're like, I've been at it, and I just can't seem, like, I have highs and downs, or ups and downs, and I just can't seem to get out of the rut. I'm in a rut, and I'm doing this, and next thing you know, I'm back in, to square one, and then I get, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back to square one, and I mean, I didn't sit down and try to, do a whole diagnostics on the issue, right? One thing that I did pick up, and it was quite quick, just because of the pattern of behaviors, was that like the they're playing, but they're playing not to lose. Whenever it comes, time to step up, get uncomfortable, actually go for that next level thing and reach out beyond that boundary. They come back to the shell. They come back to that little safe zone, to that little comfort zone, the little safe zone, and then sure shit, like, not too much time goes by, and then they have to reset, go back to square one, right? Yeah. It's interesting how we as individuals grow into certain levels of life, I feel, right? And like emotionally, it's that portion goes hand in hand with the results that you're carrying around with you all the time.
100%. And so, like, I know this quadrant really well because when I started personal development, there was a process to go through to kind of find out what quadrant you're in. Yeah. And I missed the top quadrant by 1% in a rating. And like, here's the deal about this quadrant. The playing not to lose, they produce results. They really do. Yet it's unfulfilling. It's a grind. It's hard. And this is why most people that are like in sales or entrepreneurs, they're on that, what I call the roller coaster. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they're up and they got a lot of things in the pipeline and they're closing and they're doing great. And then they get to a point where like, oh, I can finally relax because they're tired, they're exhausted, and they take their foot off the gas from what was actually generating the business, the sales, the whatever. And then they're down in the rut. And that's when like this person came to you, right? Like, I'm in a rut. Well, it's like, you got to consider one thing that's really important. If it's a roller coaster in your sales, it is in your emotions. And don't you want to know like how to get off the ride? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's you. It's 100% you. And this roller coaster, it's exhausting, man. Think about it. You got to ramp up. And then when you find yourself sliding down, it's like, oh, shit, I got to go through that again.
Here we go again. Yeah.
And I know this quadrant really well because I spent the majority of my life there up until about 2014.
What's the attrition level right now? I haven't looked at it in a while, but I mean, most businesses fail within the first 5 years. Yes. Or we're failing up to, I mean, last time I checked, it was like a couple years ago, but within the first 5 years of operation. Yep. Like that's exactly why, right? We get super excited at the beginning. We have nothing to lose. So like, why? Because we're taking off in this, great, beautiful, big adventure. We're excited about everything that's, coming our way. We don't have a business yet. So what are we going to lose? The business? No. Yeah. So, all we have is guts and glory. Yeah. And
thinking about all the potential wins
all the potentials and we have those conversations that can be very euphoric, right? And things start picking up, and then you get a little bit of traction, then you get some results, and then you kind of start kind of going up the rungs of the ladder and seeing things from a different perspective, and little wins become bigger wins and whatnot. And then usually what happens is that at some point we're required to expand, right? To grow. To risk. I mean, call it risk. I like to call it mitigated risk, right? But to just stretch out a little bit more or reach out a little bit more than what we're used to, and now you have something to lose, right? Yeah. Like, well, I mean, shit, this is risky. I don't want to do it. But it's that behavior that gets you back to that stagnation, or puts you in a state of stagnation that kills you. Why? Because the world around us is moving. The world around us is moving forward every single day. Every single day, the world around us is moving forward, right? So if we get into our own little shell of safety and stagnation, not wanting to move forward by learning and becoming better and just reaching a little bit further every single day, we have to walk along with the world. That's what happens. Yeah. So people who are playing not to lose, they don't reach out. They don't go that extra mile or extra meter, extra foot on a daily basis, and they get left behind by everything else that's moving, right?
100%.
What happens? You're back in the fucking same rut. I think you were in when you were kicking off the business in the first place.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think most businesses fail within the 5 years or by that 5 year mark because, as you just said, like, the world's moving forward. Yeah. And like, if you're not keeping up, and by the way, it just every day moves a little faster. Yeah. If you're not keeping up, then you're left behind. AI. And 5 years into it, like, you have to, you're old, and you've got to like have innovation, forward thinking, an elevated vision, and you've got to like adapt and innovate and grow. And they get to that point where like, oh, I built something I can lose. And in the fear of losing it is why they end up losing it, because they're trying to cling on to everything instead of like let go and evolve. Look at your processes and systems. Where am I archaic? Where do I need to grow? What can I innovate in my processes, procedures, customer contact, like all those types of things. And that's not like exciting or sexy, but it's required.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So how do we break through that? We have to, step up our game and
100%.
play to win. Anytime we're shooting for the win, we're looking forward. It's a forward thinking type of mentality, right? And it's not about greed or competitiveness or any of that stuff. It's just about staying on top of things so that you're still relevant. You're still tapped into what's going on in the world. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be on there. You have to be around masterminds. You have to be around interesting conversations that are forward thinking, that are pushing you forward, with that momentum that you already have, right? And not falling behind. So if we don't go for the win, we go just to kind of stay in the same place when everything else is moving forward, like we're going to be left, super far behind. How do we break through that? We keep thinking about the win. Every time we're thinking about the win, we're thinking about the next step. We're thinking about, okay, cool. How can I optimize? How can I innovate? Not necessarily the business itself or overhaul it or anything, right? But how can I innovate myself today?
Yeah.
Like what can I do different from yesterday? It's going to give me another step forward, towards that win.
Yeah. Well, speaking of step forward, like the thing about the people in the quadrant of playing not to lose is like it's fear-based, right?
Yeah.
It's right in the title, playing not to lose.
Yeah.
So I'm only doing this out of false choice, not because I want to, but because if I don't, I'm going to lose it all. And it's like, that's not a very empowering, exciting, inspirational, motivating energy. It's not forward moving. Yeah. It's just survival mode. And so to make that transition to the top rung, it's quite simple.
Ask yourself the question, right? Like, if there was no way you could fail, and this is for the audience out there, there was no way you could fail, and somebody came to you and said, okay, cool, I'm going to give you two choices. One is going to be to just be where you're at, and the other one is going to be to win. You can't fail, right? Which one would you take? Do you stay where you're at, or you go for whatever that win is, right? Do you go for that, next version of yourself, that next version of your relationships, that next version of life that you want to get to, financial, freedom, or whatever it is, right? More than likely, I haven't met anybody who has been in a space of stagnation and fulfilled.
No.
Okay. So to me, it's an absurd thing that we do that on a regular basis when the context is exactly the same. The context is exactly the same. It's okay, cool. I mean, do I want to win, or do I want to, stand still where I'm at? Like, okay, it's going to require some work, but what else are we going to do?
Yeah. Stay the same.
Yeah.
Well, so the top rung, playing to win.
Right.
Let's talk about that. Again, in contrast, I think it's important to give some context. So in playing not to lose, that's that fearful survival mode. Like, who you are speaks so loud, I cannot hear a word coming out of your mouth. You know who those people are just based on their energy as soon as you meet them, right? Because there's like this fear and there's this force and there's this push. Playing to win is very simple. I know I cannot fail because it depends on what your definition is. My definition of failure is either you're not getting started, so you're not playing, or you quit. Just straight out, throw in the towel, hand over the keys, quit. That's failing. And so does that mean you're going to make mistakes along the way? Obviously, it's required, right? But it's an energy. The energy behind their intent of playing to win is that, like, I decide. I decide what a win is. I decide, did I improve today over who I was yesterday? Did I grow myself? Did I inspire others around me? Am I influencing people in a positive manner that's forward moving? Because I'm not able to fail. I'm going to make mistakes because that's how I learn, and I love learning, constantly growing. That would insinuate that you're learning every single day, taking in good content, surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals. Like, it ain't over until I win, and I'm not able to fail. Therefore, like, I decide what my choices are, not because what my friends think I should do, not because mom or dad or my honey. Like, it's for me and my life. I decide. I'm in control. I'm completely responsible for my actions, my words, my behaviors. my results. 100%, the buck stops here.
Throw in perspective as well, like the way that we see the world, right?
Oh, totally.
I like you just went down a list, almost like a checklist of stuff that's relevant to you, that's important to you as an individual. I want to make the point, right, that when we take time to do all this visualizing, when we take time to do the journaling and the you know, the dreaming up of the person that we want to become, and you know, I want to marry this, you know, type of person. I have to be this type of, you know, individual. I have to become this to be that, and you know, whatever we're crafting, like in all those instances, it will never come to fruition. We just, you know, we're just playing not to lose.
Oh,
okay?
100%.
It requires that extra effort. It requires that ownership. And I think I mean, you said it well, right? It's true choice. What a byproduct of owning your personal power is true choice. And that includes the responsibility of going along with it, right? And, you know, if it fails, it fails. But you know what? It was up to me. I gave it all I had. My perspective on this is not a failure; it's learning and moving forward. If it, you know, wins, okay, cool. It's also my fault, right?
I'm responsible for that.
I'm also responsible for that. Taking those wins, putting them in your pocket, and then moving forward. And I feel like, I don't know. And this is kind of like a, you know, an unpopular opinion, but I don't feel like we get to a point where we're completely satisfied with life. I think it's exciting to keep growing, keep finding new ways of contributing, keep finding new ways of enjoying life, you know, at an internal level as well. So that whole journey about, you know, playing to win, it's a never ending. It's a state of being. It's really not. It has no destination.
No.
Like I think it goes on and on and on and on and on. And then just the destination gets just more and more and more exciting as we go along with it. And then it just puts a bunch of smiles on your face. Yeah, maybe some battle scars here and there and whatnot. But at the end of the day, like, you're going to have a really, really cool fucking book to look back, you know, when you're on your deathbed.
Yeah.
And know that you left it all, you know, on the mat, right? Per se.
Well, so the people that are playing to win, like, they truly understand that the process of becoming is simply the fulfillment. Like, that is the purpose. That's the point. It's not where am I going to arrive? What kind of accolades or recognition am I going to receive? Like, that's not the point. That's not the destination. It's the day-to-day process of going through it, doing that work, and showing up 100%. Like, it's a forward-moving energy because I'm moving towards what I desire, but most importantly, what I desire is who I'm becoming. Yeah. And so, it is those people that get up early. They have a morning ritual to prime their state because they want to give themselves the best opportunity, best position to win today. And the way you win today was I a better version of me today than I was yesterday? Yeah. Did I bring 100%? Did I leave it out on the field? And this really is the category that is at the top rung of the commitment ladder, which in my opinion is the only rung that matters and the only one that exists. And that is, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And the really cool thing is, when you're in that state of being, just a knowingness, and I'm willing to do anything and everything, legally, morally, ethically, right? The funny thing is, a lot of times you don't even have to do whatever it takes. It's simply the energy of your intent that makes it so.
Yeah. The interesting part is we're talking almost, I mean, it's almost like a framework, you know, type of deal, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a framework. Okay, I have a checklist of things that kind of guide my beingness, my behavior, the person that I want to be, the person that I'm becoming. You have, you know, do whatever it takes morally, ethically, and legally, right? Because you're a good human. Now, if you're not a good human and you still want to live that A life, I mean, I don't know, say that you walk through life being an asshole. The principles. No, I'm not saying you.
No. Yeah, a person.
Yeah.
Like, you're not able to do that simply because people playing to win understand one important thing. You have to create a win-win.
Yeah.
Meaning the other person's got to be excited, inspired by the opportunity and the situation, what they're buying, what the exchange of value has got to be equal to or greater than. Because if you play from the only way I can win is to take from you and you lose, you'll never be able to play to win, ever. Yeah. Because it's an energy. And the people that play to win, they sense it. They know it.
So you hit it. I was trying to get to the energy portion of it.
Oh.
You hit it right on the head. Yeah, you did. You hit it right on the head. It's it's almost like a framework, right? Like I mentioned, we go through the checklist of the person we want to become and all that stuff, and then we get to a point of awareness, and then we can make decide, right? We can reframe the story about life that we have, and then we can pre-frame the story that we want out of life and go after it, right?
It's necessary.
Yes. At the end of the day, the exchange of energy, the good vibes that we're putting into the world, they matter. They absolutely matter, man. Like if you don't want to go that far, just think about karma. Karma's a real thing.
Hey.
It's interesting to, not that I want to get like super woo-woo here, but it's interesting to see how, good energy being put out into the world comes back, and it's reciprocal, right?
Yeah.
And if you have moments of self-doubt, if you're going through that stage of just playing enough not to lose, but you want something bigger out of life, you want to I don't know what it is, I just don't. Every time I get to that edge, I find it hard to jump. I find it hard to stack your wins. Think about everything that you've lived in the past. Think about the the good stuff, the good ripple effects that are out there because of you, because of your actions, because of how much you care about life, and then have some faith in yourself. Faith in the fact that the universe is a friendly universe, right? And I like sometimes you have no idea where good things come from, and honestly, I don't care where they come from.
No,
as long as they
why do you
keep
give
coming.
a damn? So Tesla said,
but it will empower. I'm saying all that to say that it will empower you on that journey, right? When you're going for the win. When you're going for the win, it's almost like uncharted territory every single day, and it like everything feels like magic, man. If something goes south, like shit, that's it's magic at the end of the day. But something goes really, really well, it's like wow, like you know what I mean? It's a very surprising stretch of a journey that not a lot of people get to see because they get stuck in their fear.
Well, I'll say this: Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, you need to understand just three things: energy, frequency, vibration. Now, with those three things come matter. And so in playing to win, it's like you can only invest energy in two different directions.
Yeah.
Either moving away from what you don't want or moving towards what you do want. Yes? Okay, so if that's the case, clearly to win, you're going to have to move towards what you do want. And there's just, like, how do I say this? Look, I believe one simple thing. There's a higher power, whatever you want to call it, whatever you subscribe to. And if that higher power is the creator of things, like, it's got to be all loving and all knowing. And I believe that we're a unique expression of the divine, connected. Therefore, we're all connected. And that means then that the magic throughout the day, what about when shit doesn't go your way? And you're like, oh man, I was really counting on that. What if that just saved you from something really bad and terrible?
Yeah.
Because, listen, like, if God, whatever you subscribe to, is all loving and the creator, that means then there could be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance. To look at it that way is simply an illusion, because there could be no obstacle to the mind of God. Therefore, anything and everything that's happening, unfolding in your reality, that you maybe didn't directly impact or cause, is happening for your benefit. You don't know it in the moment, right? It feels like shit. It's like, oh man, I needed that. But really, it was a blockage so that you can pivot and go to a different direction. Because if you would have continued on, worse shit would have happened. Like, you were saved. And so to just let go of the mind's need to be right about things, like, really is the mindset of playing to win. To know that reality is going to unfold one way or another, and I'm here working with it, not in spite of it, not against it. I'm like water, flow with. And because you don't care what unfolds, you're not attached to the outcome, because I've decided I'm not going to quit, therefore I must win. Like, I don't know, man. If you don't get out of bed in the morning and you're not excited about your day or who you're going to become or what mistakes you're going to make and what you're going to learn, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're missing it. And if you're not having fun, you've grossly misread the instructions to life.
Wait, you got instructions?
Absolutely.
Wow. Why are you holding it out on me, bro?
Bro, I've told you all. It's just been
I mean, code. I think it comes down to if you want to live an exciting life and really be in purpose, be in intention, and I mean, you have to play for that win. Why? Because by default, it just keeps you moving the needle forward. That's one. It keeps you in a state of contribution. Why? Because you're gonna get bored doing having the same impact that you had yesterday.
Yeah.
Why? Because you have that win forward thinking mentality. You want to make a bigger impact,
it's the
so you have
calling.
to become something better or a better, bigger version of yourself to have that bigger ripple effect, right? So it's just like it just feeds on its own. It feeds on its own, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's as an entrepreneur, like cut it out. If you're just playing not to lose. I mean, you're leaving out the 5% of the most important portion of the entrepreneur dream.
Yeah, if you're half-assing it,
wrong, but
you just need to decide. You got one cheek in, one cheek out. Like it's all ass or no ass. Like get all in or get all out.
Yeah.
Because you're just gonna suffer and struggle. Yeah. Why would you put yourself through that?
Yeah.
But I would say that it's not taking a risk. I look at it as I'm giving myself an opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
What's the risk? I'm gonna lose it all? Great, I'll start over again.
Yeah.
Go a different direction, create something totally different.
I'll say, I mean, I'll put myself on the spot here, and like one of the reasons why it didn't take me that long to really go after the W, and instead of just kind of doing things not to lose. I was doing things not to lose at the beginning, but I realized I was in a very lonely place as an entrepreneur. Nobody understood what I was. Yeah, nobody understood what I was doing, what I was going through in terms of that mindset, the mental state that I was in when I was starting off, the conversations I was trying to have. I wasn't able to have. Why? Because people were not in the same frequency. They were not in the same thought process that I was.
Couldn't relate.
Everybody had a security blanket around me and everything. I just didn't have any. I didn't have anything. I was out in the fucking cold, right? So I sat with it for a while, and I did play not to lose. For a hot minute there, and man, I can tell you it's the most stressing and depowering state of mind that I've been in as an entrepreneur, where I'm there not to lose the stuff that's that I don't know, that's it's not even there, like I think it's there, but it's not even you know what I mean. Anyways, so tapping into that personal power and really leaning into it. And going for that forward thinking, going for that win on anything, it's honestly was one of the biggest blessings, because it became a way of performing. It became a habit after a while, and it just becomes part of me. So anytime I go there, I don't know, if I'm gonna go somewhere, I'm not gonna half-ass it. It's like, all right, cool, let's live a little. I mean, you probably heard me say that a billion times, right? It's about going for whatever win you can have in that moment. And it's not gonna be, I mean, it's not a point system, right? It's not, okay, I'm gonna win at points and
there's no scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm gonna win at enjoying that moment, that person, that conversation, that relationship, that transaction that's challenging me, that next vision that's gonna put me out of my comfort zone and fire in the ass, right? I'm winning at that. I'm winning at seeing that life come to fruition little by little, and I choose to do that. I choose to do that from a personal power standpoint, because that's really what creates contribution. That's what creates that ripple effect, and people can tap into that and then create their own wins.
100%. Like it's really what we're talking about is an evolution in consciousness and awareness. And so you've got to go through, everyone, entrepreneurs, if you want to really become successful, you've got to go through that phase of playing not to lose. Because when you got something that you could lose, like that's what you concern yourself with. But as you said, as you develop yourself, as you go through adversity, it builds that character. Like that's the evolution. And there is no fucking shortcut. Like just get on with it. And
I thought about the shortcut. Like, how cool would it be if we had a shortcut, just an
this
easy
is
button?
The shortcut.
Like, bro, it'd be horrible. Think about it.
It would be detrimental to the person that took the shortcut.
It'd be horrible.
You didn't develop who you need to become.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought, don't get me wrong. I thought about a shortcut like forever, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, a shortcut to I don't know, like we're not exempt. And then 5 million, then 10 million, whatever.
Yeah.
What about like everything in between, like everything that we go through in between that makes us bigger, better, stronger? The relationships, the smiles, that's what the entrepreneur journey is. That's what the life journey is about. The game of life and how to play it. I mean, it's an incredible book if you haven't read it. But it really taps into a lot of the simplicity of life and brings the gold out of it. That's shortcuts. I mean, man, they're I don't know. I feel like they're a disservice. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to get stuck doing the same shit like for 10 years.
But think about it. A caterpillar goes into a cocoon and it goes into metamorphosis. It literally turns into goo, right?
Yeah.
And then it develops into a butterfly.
Yeah.
And it has to break free from that cocoon, because in doing so is the only way that it processes, like strengthening the wings so it can fly.
You're full of crazy facts today.
If you cut that thing open and you release the butterfly, it'll die. It won't be able to fly because it didn't develop the muscle. And what we're talking about here is just that character. That's the muscle. You must be developed. It is the shortcut. There is no other way. And it, like you said, like in that growing phase, you become a person, you have a state of being to you. It's a personality. It's how you think. It's how you feel. It's how you behave. Yeah. That personality is creating your personal reality. What unfolds, how you view it, what you take in, and we call that your results.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, fuck the shortcut. Do the work. Good combo, man. It's important, right, to have that awareness of where are we at. Ask yourself the question: are you not playing in your life? Are you just playing, by everything else, the norms out there? Are you playing enough so just that you don't lose? You're still stagnant. You're still not moving forward. I don't care what you tell yourself. Or are you playing to win? Are you playing to win, creating experiences and having those, those ripple effects that are going to put somebody else's life in a better path because of you? I mean, that's my programming. Figure out what your programming is, right? And follow through on that. But play for the win in every single area of your life. Relationships, health. Did you just fucking go on a diet and you're just not, okay, I'm doing a diet not to lose what I got? Like, I don't know. Like, go the extra mile, do intermittent fasting or something. I don't know. Like, play to fucking win. Make it exciting. Bet on yourself. All right. Yeah. That's my rant for today.
Yeah. Well, and again, like the purpose to all of this is just in the process. It's of becoming. Yeah. It's not the destination. Because if you do that, man, well, when you arrive at a destination, you won't take it in and own it because you will have already reset a new destination and you feel like you're never going to get there. And that's such a struggle. It's emotionally draining. That roller coaster, like, man, just work on developing you, the personality, and that version will have so much to contribute to the rest of humanity, and the influence that it makes and the ripple effect is incredible. So
100%. Justin, where can somebody get a hold of you if they want to continue the conversation?
Yeah, JustinThorstad.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at Mindset Coach JT, and my cell, 602-348-8534.
Bam! Fam, do us a favor. If you like the conversations, if you like the podcast, if you like the episodes, subscribe, like, and share. Send it out to somebody who you think might benefit from this nonsense that we keep talking about on Mondays. And we love you all. Follow me on social if you're not doing so yet at Rafael Cortez CEO. Follow the YouTube channel. Again, please subscribe. It really does help us out. It helps us spread the message, which is at the end of the day what we are looking to do. So with that being said, play to win. You got this.
Victory.